Listen, I got an amazing episode for y'all today. I'm feeling good. Marky Mark is back in the building from vacation, so he say, you know what I mean? I'm feeling good. Eastside in the building. Brother Knowledge over at journaling. You know, it's a good thing in the world when black men is journaling. You know, it's men's, mental health awareness month. You know what I'm saying? It's good. You know what I mean? We doing good. Now, listen, Glenn, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Marky Mark, you ready? Brother Knowledge, you ready? All right, man, let's do this. Welcome back to the I-70 podcast. It is your boy, Jonathan Little, a.k.a. John. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, man. Tap into everything I got going on. Now, the guest that I got in the building today, I was excited when he said he wanted to come on, because it was all mutual. But, of course, Eastside knows everybody under the sun. There's nobody I meet in KC that Eastside, oh, yeah, I went to high school with him, some shit like that. Anyway, the man I got in the building today, I want to give you your flowers, to start the show because you taking time out of your day to help develop our youth physically, mentally, and preparing them for life. Mm-hmm. You and others like you deserve to be championed and deserve to be celebrated because at the end of the day, our youth is everything. They're the ones that are going to take on the world when our time is up. So I want to say, to start my intro, thank you, brother, for everything you do for the community and giving back to the community because you don't have to. Because this gentleman takes time out of his day to run one of the best gyms here in KCK. Full Throttle Gym. I got Glen Cusimano in the building. How you doing, brother?
I'm good.
Thank you for coming through. Now, so let's get into your background real quick. For people who don't know you, where are you born and raised?
I was born in Kansas City, raised in Kansas City. I was here until right after high school. Mm-hmm. I went to the Air Force for a couple of years. Figured out it wasn't for me. You know? I was one of them things where you can take somebody out the hood, but you can't take the hood out of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what was that like? You going in the Air Force and you was just trying to drop some of them habits from the hood and get that discipline that they giving in the Air Force?
Yeah. The first of all, I went to the Air Force because I went to Central High School over in Kansas City, Missouri, on the Missouri side. Okay. Back then, you was either once you get out of high school, you was either gonna end up dead or in jail. Mm-hmm. Those were the top two possibilities. And then, the ones that went to college and all these different things. Yeah. School just wasn't for me. I was talking to my son about this yesterday, School I didn't like school. Yeah. It wasn't for me. And I knew if I went to college, there was a good chance that I probably wouldn't stay there.
I heard that.
Or I was going to use that turn that into something else probably that I should have been doing.
Yeah. You talk about my college experience, goddamn it. I literally.
And so I went to the Air Force because I thought, man, if I don't get the hell out of here, something bad's going to happen.
Yes, sir.
So
what was you, 18, 19?
18.
18.
Yeah, 18. So, I went to the Air Force right after school and got stationed in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Lord,
God bless y'all because I've never heard of that place. God bless y'all, though.
Bro.
Hey, Brother Knowledge, it's not your part of the show yet, brother. Damn it.
Hey. But it was just a culture shock for me.
Yeah, sir.
Because the base, the population of the base was actually bigger than the city.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So here I am, my mentality, first of all, was so much different when I got out of high school, because of the influence that I had through high school.
Yes, sir.
It was just different. You know what I mean? And so when I ended up going there, got into one of the sergeants and, ended up breaking an officer's jaw.
Oh, Lord, Jesus.
After a basketball game. And it was just not good. So they gave me an option to take an early out or lose 2 stripes and go to correctional custody for 90 days. I was like, I want to go home.
Yeah, all right.
Let me get up out of here.
So you was going to have to do the 90 days and then return back to duty and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't want to be there no more anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? So especially lose 2 stripes because that's a lot of pay.
Yeah.
So I came back home, man. I got a general under honorable conditions because, with the exception of the few incidences I had a pretty good service record. So, I came back home, man, and got on the grind,
Now, athletically, though, growing up, switching back to high school, growing up, what was your sports? Like, what was the sport that you excelled in? What was the sport that you loved to be involved with?
I loved football.
Yes, sir.
Okay, loved football. Well, let me take that back. I loved hitting people.
Okay.
So this was another problem I had in high school. Because, number one, I went to Central because we lived in the Northeast area. Mm-hmm. But I went to Central because Central had a better football program.
Got you.
Okay. So I went there to play football. And immediately I learned that I really didn't love football. Mm-hmm. I just loved the contact.
Yes, sir.
So with having that thought process, football is a game you got to love.
Yes,
you got to love the 2-a-days. You got to love the grind. You got to love being out there on the ground.
You feel what we talking about over here, Mark?
You know what I mean? If you don't love it, bro, you're not going to make it.
Nah, you're not.
And so I had this mentality where, it was like, it was cool, and I got to hit people and I got to let off some anger issues that I had, as a kid. But overall, it was just not my thing.
Yeah. And I want to piggyback off what you're saying because it's so true. For me, growing up, I love football, don't get it wrong, but that love that you're talking about, you have to really, really love it because for me, it took me a while once football ended for me in college, I had to realize it was really what the game would do for me that I loved. Mm-hmm. The thought of, man, if I could just go pro,
right, it's
over with, it's on. But like that was the love. It wasn't really, and like don't get it wrong, I love football, but you articulated how better than I would. I love contact. Mm-hmm. I love to hit people. I have a clip that I could have Esau pull up. I knocked myself out and somebody else out on a punt return. Mm-hmm. I was blocking, and he ain't see me coming.
Yeah. And
I leveled him, but I knocked me out and I knocked him out too. So I love what you said. I just loved contact. Like it was just something about, I don't know, man, just strapping the pads on and just hitting somebody. Right. And two men jousting, if you will. You know what I mean? Yeah, I love that part of it too.
It takes a different mentality to have that thought process. You know what I mean? And it takes an even more different mentality to have that thought process without headgear.
Yes, sir.
Without helmets.
Shout out to all the rugby players. I don't know how y'all do it. All the rugby players of the world, I do not know how y'all do it because grown men that size should not be tackling each other without proper equipment on.
No.
You know what I mean? So you get done with the Air Force. Are you lost about what you're gonna do next, or do you already have a plan on what you're gonna do after the Air Force?
So I didn't really have a plan. I came home. I started working. I got a good job. I tried out for the fire department, actually, and it was the one in Lee Summit. Okay. And so I made it all the way to I don't know, 100-something guys. I made it all the way to like the last 5. But I fouled up the interview. The interview process with the chief.
Was it your attitude? Was it your approach? Like, how did you mess
I think it was my attitude because I could sense the tension, of the racial element. Okay. Yes, sir. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I didn't like it. And so when they asked me certain questions, because they asked me, it was in a way that made me feel like they were being condescending, and I just didn't fly. So. I was okay with that. I didn't make it, but I did end up working at Folgers Coffee, which used to be downtown in Kansas City, and I was there for a little while. But because of my high school, involvement with the other side,
yes, sir, I got you.
Right,
I'm with you, baby. Yeah. I'm with you.
It wasn't enough money for me.
I heard that.
It wasn't enough money for me. So through high school, let's
break it down, Glenn. That's right. We got nothing but time, big dog. Break it down.
Through high school, my real dad, and my mom split up when I was like 3 or 4 years old. Mm-hmm. Okay, he was a drug dealer in the hood, but he was the kind of drug dealer that he controlled certain neighborhoods.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so there would be times where I wouldn't see my dad for 6 months, but then he'd pop up. Call me, text me, or not text.
Oh, no, there was no texting back then.
No texting back then. Because we talking about, 79, 80.
Whoa! Yeah, so we taking it back.
Yeah, we taking it way back. He called me, want to come pick me up. Cool, and I loved it. Because as a kid, and you don't have your dad around, all you want is to be around him, no matter what the circumstances are.
Yes, sir.
You don't care. You accept it all. Mm-hmm. Right? And so he would basically bring me to these neighborhoods where he was doing his work, but he would talk me through the process. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm going here to do this. I'm going here to do this. He was such a different dude that, we go in the store, and I come out, and he asked me questions about my surroundings. And if I didn't have the right answers, I'd be in trouble. So then I had to start developing this Jason Bourne shit in my head all the time.
I've seen every Jason Bourne, by the way.
Right.
Hey, Mark, I've seen every one of them, baby.
Yeah, so remember the first one where he's sitting there talking to the girl, he's like, I can tell you the license plate numbers are all for, blah, blah, blah. Like all
Whole
that
scene.
Right. That's what I'm thinking in my head every time I go into somewhere. I got to fucking know everything that's going on, right? And so, in saying that, it was like, I ended up developing this mentality of, and another thing you just tell me, no matter what the circumstances are, you adapt and overcome.
Yes, sir.
You figure out a way to adapt and overcome. You never panic. And so I had that mentality, and I started adapting that early, 13, 14, 15 years old.
That's that age. I always say that, Glenn.
And I started trying to find ways to do things behind closed doors that gets me ahead of everybody else. And so, like security guard back there in high school, we was cool. I walked to school, hand him a 20, hand him a 50 sometimes. Hey, come get me out at the third hour at such and such time.
Oh, Glenn had it popping back in the day.
Bro, I was working the system.
And then, matter of fact, another thing I want to ask you, because you got enough wisdom to enlighten us, what was the 80s like? Because during that time, that's when a lot of people from the communities that we hail from was getting it on illegally, trying to find a way, but also mass incarceration was a thing as well. How was the 80s as a child?
You know, I'm actually happy I grew up in that era.
Okay.
Because it taught me a lot of, it taught me a lot of ways to deal with adversity, whether that adversity was racism, whether it was, just being denied certain things or didn't have certain things that were within your reach because you didn't have the financial stability, whatever it was, right? We figured out a way. Right. And so, because these kids these days, man, they don't, that's another conversation, but shit.
We got time for it later on.
Bro, you talk about dealing with adversity and trying to figure shit out. No.
And matter of fact, we can deal with it now. Because you, like you saying, and not to cut your wisdom, but what is the difference? Because, I mean, like you said, today kids don't deal with, hell, and I can even say as a 90s baby, we deal with it worse than y'all dealt with it. Adversity. Is it the time? Is it social media? What is causing this new wave of not being able to deal with adversity?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with Chat GPT.
Okay,
to be quite honest. These kids think they're smarter than everybody because all they got to do is talking to the phone and ask them a question and the phone tells them everything. They don't have to figure shit out.
Yeah.
They need a paper for this. They need to write an email for this. You know what I mean?
So no critical thinking is going on, but they can go straight to ChatGPT.
They don't have to think about nothing, bro.
Ain't got to go to the library, get no book.
Everything is handed to them. They don't have to think about nothing. So when you get in a certain situation and you out on the streets and you trying to figure something out, you don't know how to figure it out.
Yeah.
You don't know how to figure it out.
And a question I do want to ask you, because you started young, and I always say this, for me, I always know when somebody come from an environment like me, when they tell me the age that they started moving around. When you said 13, it always, make my eyes get big because that was the age for me where at 13, I started being of the community. You know what I mean? I'm starting to hang out on certain places and see certain things. Did you ever make the decision young, hey man, even though you was doing what you was doing, man, this ain't for me and I want more for myself?
No.
No, okay.
No, not until I was older.
Okay, got you.
Not until I was older. So you got to understand too. So half of my family is Italian.
Okay.
My mom is Sicilian, which is where the name Cusimano comes from. So I would go see my dad because my dad was black and have that side, but I grew up with my Italian family.
Got you. Real mafioso.
Which also came with that element.
And we all in Kansas City too.
Because my great-grandmother is cousin to the Gambino crime family. So I had that element also. So not once when I was younger did I think what I was doing was going to end up bad. Right, that's right. You know what I mean? When I was 10 years old, my grandmother took me to see the movie Scarface when it came out. I was 10, bro. 10. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a different animal. You know what I mean? Different animal. And
I want y'all to know this for y'all, Mark and Esai and Brother Niles. Do y'all know your boy can name all 5 of the Italian mob families of New York? Look, when I was a kid, I was infatuated with criminals, man. Like I was that kid. I would sit, Glenn, and just research like, this, and I knew them all. You know what I mean?
Do it.
Okay, hold on. You got the Gambino, Colombo, Lucchese, Bonanno. And, I'm missing one. You know, I hate you, Mark. I got 4. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody.
We got to pull it up on the screen.
Pull it up, please. Pull it up.
I'm going to give you one hint.
Costello. It's right.
I said Gambino.
It's what's his name?
Paul Castellano?
No. It starts with a G. It's damn, I can't think. Chin.
Genovese.
Yeah.
Genovese. Okay, so
Genovese.
Now, Mark, I got 4 out of 5, baby. Give me some damn credit around here.
That's good.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
Look, he over there hating. No, but what was that dynamic like, though, Glenn? Being that you were half black, half Italian, did you experience any identity crisis where you like, I don't know if I fall over this way or if I fall over this way?
So when you're in school, first of all, you light skin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, back then, light skin was not cool.
I hear that. I know you feel that, Brother Knowledge. Like you said.
Light skin was not cool back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, we talking about, 70s, 80s, you in grade school, people making fun of you, just trying to, which is probably where the element of fighting came from me, because I dealt with so much, motherfuckers trying to punk me out.
Yes, sir.
Because back then, if you light skin, you're soft.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I dealt with that a lot, and then, of course, if I'm hanging out with Italians, which I really didn't hang out with many Italian kids. It was mostly my family all the time.
Right.
But even hanging out with some of my uncles, when we one-on-one somewhere, and they talking to people, and you could hear them use the slang,
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe I don't fit in over here either. You know what I mean? Like, so how do they really see me?
Yeah.
And the funny part is like when I came back and I started working at Folgers and I said there wasn't enough money for me and I left that and I, hit the streets.
Yeah.
I was actually an enforcer for one of the guys around here.
Yes, sir. Because y'all got a huge mob history here in KC.
Yeah.
Huge mob history here in KC. Talk to the young brothers. They don't know nothing about this type of, they don't care about this type of shit. You know what I mean?
4 out of 5.
My bad. I'm sorry.
4 out of 5.
This
Mark, you a hater, bro.
I can talk about it a little bit because this is 20 years ago.
Right, that's right. Statute of limitations are up for most things.
Yeah,
okay, most things.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Brother Knowledge, what is the law enforcement? What's the only thing? Statute of limitations, murder is the only thing that never goes away. Everything else is what, 20 years?
7.
Some 7?
Some 7, yeah.
Hey, these are some shit I can start talking about on the podcast now. I'm old enough. Time done passed. You know what I mean?
But for public image reasons, we're gonna keep it
okay.
tucked
All right,
away.
all right, you're right. But wait a minute, Eastside, bro, I got to tell my story, bro. I love how I let my guests come in.
But you can't just give it to them all at once. You got to write a book and then allude to the book.
Talking about a book. I was just talking to somebody yesterday.
Okay, here we go.
Write a book.
You
need to write a book about everything that I did. I was sitting with a counselor one time because I had anger management. I had to go.
Man, you and me both. Shout out Miss Theodore, baby. I still love you to this day, girl. Had me with the stress ball.
Anger management. And he starts talking to me about my past and everything I've been through. He's like, "How the hell do you keep going?"
Yeah,
that right there is for me. It's what my father instilled in me when I was a little kid. No matter what the situation is, you figure out a way to adapt and overcome.
Said that. Only thing cameras
shit
roll
is
when you
chaotic for me is when I thrive.
Right.
Not when everything's going good. Because I'm waiting for something bad to happen.
As I've gotten older, Glenn, I've started to adapt that into my life.
Yeah.
Every day I'm looking for a problem to solve. Yeah. Like, I know it's coming. Like, come on with the adversity so I can go and figure it out. Rather than shying away from it, I'm just like, man, come on with it, man. Like, hell, even this morning, my car was trying to act up on. I said, man, I'm getting to this motherfucking podcast. I made it here, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Getting home, I don't know. So now, listen.
I get your ride, dog.
My dog, I appreciate that. Now, so, because you went into a little bit, with, the counselor and mental health. It is, Men's Mental Health Month. What tips do you use in your life to make sure you steady mentally? You know what I mean? What things do you do to make sure that you're on point mentally?
I got to be honest with you. I could do better at that.
Okay.
I could do better at that.
Yeah.
So, but I have my wife that balances me.
Shout out to the wife.
Yeah. She balances me. She texting me right now, as a matter of fact, man.
You ain't in trouble with you,
Come on down here, baby. Come on down. Come on down here. But she really, really balances me when it comes to that. Because sometimes, bro, shit happen. I'll be like, man, I ain't doing that. She's like, babe, hold on. You got to see this from the other side. Because I still have that mentality of if they don't want to roll with me, I'll roll over them. I don't give a shit.
I got that mentality right now.
You know what I'm saying?
Glenn might be cousin. He may be my, you know what I mean, first cousin to my pops and them.
Hey,
some
Nino
shit.
Brown, baby. You roll with me or we rolling over you.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I-70 podcast, baby. That's how I rock. You know what I'm saying? Either you gonna come sit down with an interview or be an enemy. You know what I mean? It is what it is, baby.
It is what it is. So, yeah, man, it's just, but if it wasn't for her, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I'd be in jail, but she mellows me out.
Yeah,
she definitely mellows me out, and I could do better. What I try, I think where I'm at right now at this age, especially, is I finally got to the point where I just don't care.
Okay,
like I don't care what other people think. Mm-hmm. I don't care what what this coach said. Now I'm not gonna let you talk crazy about me. Mm-hmm. I did have that incident about a month ago where another coach from another gym talking bad about our gym.
Oh,
I'm like, what'd you say? So I'm a man.
Yes, that's right.
I get in my car, I drive straight to that gym by myself. My wife's like, you ain't taking nobody? Nope. Drive down there and say, hey, bro, what is this? Are you telling this person and this person on Facebook they're talking? What are we doing? I couldn't pick you out from a lineup. Why are you talking shit about us?
Mm-hmm. And did he have I'm sure it wasn't a good explanation.
Yeah,
but
I'll fly off the handle sometimes and, blah, 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 blah. He apologized. Yeah. And we shook hands. And I grabbed his hand and I said, I don't want to have this conversation again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because that's just the way I am, man. But I mean, for the most part, I don't care what people think. I'm not gonna let you be disrespectful.
Yes.
But I don't care what people think.
And man, and that's why me personally, Glenn brother, and I've always been like this my whole life. I always love being around older gentlemen because y'all teach me so much just with y'all telling y'all truth. And a lot of things are relatable, which is why I think more men need to sit down and discuss and have a group that you could, correspond with, because I know for me, hearing you say you don't care no more, I know at 30 years old, I still care just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it fucks with me on the daily because it's certain things that I react to, it's certain things that I respond to, and it's like, bro, if I just didn't give a damn, I wouldn't even respond to it.
It takes a while to get there. Okay. It takes a while to get there. Yeah. And especially if you're dealing with a person of, that deep inside, you're morally, a good person.
Thank you.
Right?
Why you fucking with me?
Yeah. So
what I do? Why you bothering me?
Why you bothering me? You know what I mean? But you just finally get to a point to where you don't, especially like as you get older, you start thinking about health and everything that's going on. And I'm just like, I'm not letting my motherfucker raise my blood pressure.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Man, I'm telling you, man, it's every day I'm giving myself pats on the back like, John, you let him make it, bro. Just go on, keep it pushing. Because, boy, we're going to turn this bitch up if you turn around and say something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a part of me, I think, is the fact of I don't like people feeling like that they got one over on me, Glenn. Or like that because like you, how my father and them raised me, they used to always say, me and my big brother, y'all men first.
Right.
Before anything, you're a man.
Right.
And so disrespect cannot be tolerated. But it's times I'm just like, you got that one. Let me go this way, bro. I got some shit I got to do. So
and and I get that because there's been several times in certain situations where I'm like, man, I'll let that motherfucker, I'm gonna give you a little example.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. There was some communication, somebody was talking shit, blah, 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 blah. Uh-huh. And so I had to call him and say, look, that's not the way this happened, But he kind of like started kind of getting a little mouthy. Uh-huh. And I was like, hey, bro, this conversation is a courtesy call.
That's right.
Because of my wife.
Mm-hmm. I'm doing this for her.
Yeah. So, but he still kind of got lippy a little bit. But then, it bothered me for like 6 months. Where I was like, I let that motherfucker talk shit. You know what I mean? And I didn't really check him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it actually ended up coming out later. Mm-hmm. So, but now I could care less.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now I could care less. You know what I mean? So it's just certain situations you got to like think about what's the substantial like damage that it could create.
Yes,
Is it really worth it?
Yes,
Is it really worth the ego, right? Because that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is. Yes, let's be honest. Yes,
that's
sir.
what it is. Mm-hmm. It's our ego. And is it really worth the little knock on our ego that we let somebody kind of say something? I think more is depending on who the person is.
Look, I'm gonna tell you, it's me sitting back at night trying to sleep, knowing that motherfucker on the phone with his lady telling me, yeah, check that motherfucker. He ain't want to do shit. That's what bothers me at night. Like, it make my skin crawl, Mark. I'm like, this motherfucker can talk. He can feel like Billy Badass with me. Nah, this ain't going like that. So that's been my biggest thing for me since I've turned 30 last year.
Yeah.
Is controlling my temper and controlling. Hey, man, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Look, you know what I mean, Glenn, bro, you know what I mean?
Baby face ass.
And I can't grow the ugly. Like, this shit is it. Like, I can't.
That's bad, bro.
No, it's not. Let me explain why. It's not bad. Look, first of all, and I'm gonna get some advice to all the men out here, goddamn, who can't grow no facial hair. Look, I'm gonna be a spokesperson for us for about 30 seconds. Early on in your 20s, you feeling the way because you got motherfuckers like Marky Mark who got the full beard at 19. You know what I mean? And you feeling bad because you see all your motherfucker, you look 30. For me, it used to bother me at first, but as I've gotten older, the older women really make me know, oh no, baby, you look great to be 30. You know what I mean? They fuck with me, and then I gotta beat the little 22, 23-year-old hoes away. Just, I don't know, baby, I'm not that young, baby. I don't float that young. So, you know, listen, you get to a point where, hey, man, you forever looking young. Because, look, Glenn look good for his age. I look good for mine. I just don't got no damn facial hair, man. I got the baby face, brother. So, listen, all in all, men with no facial hair, keep hope alive, okay?
Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive. Stay fresh. Stay in shape. You know what I mean? Everything ain't for us. Because I'm going to be honest with you. These niggas with all these beards, if they cut these beards off, boy... Beards are like makeup. None of these men with beards would ever cut that shit off.
The filter comes off.
And come off. Marky Mark, if Mark ever cut that big ass beard he got, it's over with. The Crimson Chin. Okay, but look, I'm sorry, y'all. I just had to, throw a shot at all the men who grow facial hair. Look, whatever. Oh, look at George. See, there you go. See, men with facial hair. See, this the problem we run into. Y'all want to, make us feel like downtrodden hood recipients. Y'all want to kick us to the curb.
Bro, you good.
Throw us to the wolves like some naked sheep.
You good.
All right, we good. All right, bro. Thank you, bro. See, y'all get me out of my body, bro. Everybody got facial hair in this bitch but me. I'm going to play it up. I hate you, brother. Knowledge. Now, full throttle. Okay? Yeah. Now, one thing I want to get to, though, courage, will, determination. Mm-hmm. Where did that slogan come from?
Actually, my wife created that, but she created that on the basis of, I don't want to speak for her, but I feel like she created that on the basis of how I operate.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Right? Fearless, courage, will, no matter what happens, I'm going to keep going. Determination. Same thing, right? Like, I am determined when I have something in my mind that I want to do, that shit getting done.
Yes, sir.
I don't care, like, something bad happens. Oh, we were supposed to get funding for this. We didn't get it. Good. Now I got to work harder to do this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I look at setbacks as an opportunity to thrive in a different direction. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily in a different direction, but make something else happen. I love making shit happen, bro.
Yeah.
And when I make shit happen, boy, I feel good. I
like that. Yeah.
You bro, your shoulder back. What?
Well, so what they call it? That's that what they call the dopamine hit, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
And it hits for everybody different.
Right.
Some people, but me, my thing is with my kids, taking care of my family.
Right.
Taking care of the kids in the gym, making sure I'm providing, all the things that they need. Like that right there. All the other shit.
Yeah.
Whatever. And
then let me ask you this. What is one of your biggest challenges you faced as a gym owner? Because I know it's plenty.
Yeah, there is. And it depends on what type of gym you're trying to run.
Okay, gotcha.
That's the problem, right?
Break that down, please.
So, like, when we first started, and we bought out CrossFit I-35,
okay,
which was a straight CrossFit gym. Mm-hmm. This was during COVID. So, my boy Chad, shout out to Chad.
Shout out Chad, man.
Chad, he owns Boulevard Nights.
Okay.
And so,
well, y'all just had that Freaknik up in there last night. Shout out to you, boy.
So he's like, hey man, I got a buddy that's got a turnkey gym. And Chad knew I was actually training people out of the apartment gym where I live
at the leasing office.
Yeah. So okay. I had an agreement with the apartment building.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah man, I got a buddy got a turnkey gym. You should go check it out. I pull up, I see CrossFit I-35 on. I'm like, yeah, that's a CrossFit gym. So, and I don't know how much you know about CrossFit.
Oh, I do. I ain't never did it. Shout out to all the CrossFit athletes.
Yeah.
I've watched what's the big event they do where they run the Murph and it's like a whole CrossFit X Games type deal.
I can't remember what they call it.
That event, y'all know what I'm talking about. They do the Murph and all of that.
CrossFit people kind of crazy though.
Okay.
I love y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all motherfuckers crazy. They eat, sleep, drink, live CrossFit.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's a cult. Mm-hmm. My bad. A little bit. Like
just a little bit.
Yeah. And so anyway, I walked in and I'm looking at the space and I'm like, hold up. This is a functional fitness gym. I can do a lot of stuff in here because it was wide open.
Right.
And so we bought him out in the heart of, it was 2021, heart of COVID, right? So it was rough in the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happened was back then I was doing the classes, group classes, but I was also doing strength conditioning and speed and agility for kids.
Yes, sir.
Because I've been doing that for a long time. Mm-hmm. So I started this program to where we were bringing these kids in from KCK at a very low price point, $5 a head. You know, just trying to get him in and get a workout. Because, you know, after 20 years of being in this business and doing personal training for kids, it's always, to me, it was always, man, these kids, you're always dealing with kids that got money.
Right.
Right?
I hear that.
So the mentality is much different.
Yeah.
You know, they there because their parents making them be there. About 5% of them are there because they want it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And 10% of them think they want it until it's time to do the workout. Then they don't want that shit
Then they don't want it. Uh-huh.
They find out how hard they got to work.
Right.
You know? And so it's funny because these parents would come and bring these kids in and I used to tell them all the time, and look, I don't want to lie to you, but he ain't D1 material.
Ooh, now, not to cut your wisdom, Glenn, but I want to expound on that point. How hard is it to tell a parent, hey, your child just ain't got it? Because they got to be a difficult conversation.
It is a difficult conversation, and it's honestly not as hard as you think it would be. Because the way I look at it is I have to be very honest.
Yes,
now,
sir.
It might mess with your money.
Yeah.
So there's some trainers out there that won't do that. Mm-hmm. They'll just keep training the kids.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he gonna make it. No.
Uh-huh.
No, because what happens is what they're not thinking about in the long term is when that kid fails, well, where did he train at?
Mm-hmm. I hear that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear that. Yes, sir.
Okay, now what?
Now what?
Now he came out of such and such gym.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. So did that other dude. And so did I. Nah, bro, we ain't doing that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going to be real honest with you because for me, I'd rather have quality than quantity.
That's right.
All day long coming out of my gym.
Well, you sound like his ass with this podcast thing, man.
I mean, it's true, bro.
Yeah.
You know, it's true. And so for me, you know, I just had to be very honest with him now. And I would tell him now, I'm not saying that he can't get it.
Right.
But right now, there's certain things that aren't really teachable that he doesn't have.
Right.
Will he develop them? I don't know. It depends on how bad he wants them.
Mm-hmm. Because one thing my father always told me, he say, son, everything ain't for everybody.
No.
You know what I mean? Certain things that person going to be able to do and accomplish and, you know, obtain, you not.
Right.
And it just is what it is. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, I think what most people, especially nowadays, because everything is handed to these kids, is they do not understand that you have to be a little off up here about what you want in your dreams and your aspirations.
Yes, sir.
To be the best.
Yep.
Right? You gotta be.
And because I'm delusional as hell about my podcast, I think my shit can compete with just about anybody. You know, shout out to the big dogs of the world, the Joe Rogans, the Shannon Sharps. I feel like, you understand what I'm saying? I can go with the best of them with this podcast thing. You know what I mean? I just ain't got the following. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about, Eastside, brother. Yeah, clock that. You know what I mean?
Over there.
Yeah, you can't be delusional about a fact. You know what I mean? Yeah, Glow. Crazy. But no, I feel what you're saying in just regards to just being a little delusional because it was times, Glenn, to start. When I first started the podcast, man, didn't nobody want to come sit down with me? They're like, what the hell is this? That boy got 0 followers, 1 subscriber, probably his mama. You know what I mean? I ain't going to sit down. Hey, you feel me, Mark? Anybody going to sit down with him? But it was like I was delusional enough to go, nah, you know what? I'm going to watch this shit just grow and keep growing and keep growing, bro. And that's just what I'm doing right now, man, because now I'm on a smaller scale, y'all. I'm starting to see that consistency that I over these 110 episodes now, that consistency has brought me to a different place in life.
Right.
I've developed certain relationships that, have been monumental to me. Mm-hmm. Individuals like yourself. I'm meeting real entrepreneurs, real people who've been through real things and who are able to connect me with different places and different people. So, this whole thing of being delusional but consistent, hey, man, it's the stuff that legends are made of, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Consistency is
I got a question. OG.
Yes, sir.
Can you let these kids know how much they have to sacrifice socially to be that D1, to be that pro, to be that D2? Because a lot of these kids are looking at Anthony Edwards and what he's going through. He didn't have a girlfriend in high school. If he did, it wasn't nothing serious. He was in the gym. He was at Georgia, eat, sleep, breathing basketball.
Right.
And now he's a pro with millions of dollars. You couldn't go to the functions.
Right.
You couldn't be out and about. You had to be hitting those gyms early morning, late nights. Like, let them know the sacrifice they got to go through in order to be that successful. And you may sacrifice, and it might not pan out.
Right.
So now you just missed out.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to give you a visual, y'all youngsters. I'm trying to give you a visual and pay attention to what I'm saying. Okay, you gotta, because I did this for some kids that we brought in one of our shout out to Heartland 180. It's another program. You're Tyrone. That's right. Mm-hmm. So I had some kids come in, and I took a mason jar. Mm-hmm. I filled it up with golf balls, right? And I said, "This is your life, right?" Mm-hmm. Okay, all these little balls take up all the space, right? You got the important things, right? And then all of a sudden, the golf balls are like the least important things.
Okay,
like social media, all that kind of stuff, mm-hmm. right? Then you pour in little tacks, right? Uh-huh. They fill in the little cracks, right? Now you got the things that are secondary important, right? Mm-hmm. Just simple stuff, school, stuff like that, right? Now you pour in sand, right? So sand fills all the cracks, but sand is the most important things, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
The family, things that you need to start planning for. Well, you ain't got no damn room.
Because you filled it up with all the shit.
Because you filled the whole damn jar with social media, with, all this other shit that don't matter.
Yeah, that's right.
It don't matter.
I like that.
It don't matter at all.
Yeah.
Right? But it's taking up all your time. You got 24 hours in a day, right? Mm-hmm. If you are on your phone, let's back up. You sleep 8 hours, hopefully.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you are, you're going to eat all that good shit,
yeah.
Another hour, whatever,
mm-hmm.
You got to go to school, right?
Yep.
It's another 6 to 7 hours,
mm-hmm.
right? So 16 hours right now?
Yeah.
Right? The other day, already gone. You got another 8 hours.
What you going to do with it?
What you going to do with them?
Yeah.
You got practice? No. Well, I mean, you know what I mean? You got
mm-hmm.
you got workouts, you got all these different things that you could fill that time with. But most of y'all will fill that time with nonsense. When you thinking because you got talent right now that you better than everybody else, that you don't have to work hard. Mm-hmm. Where you messing up is you're going to get to a point where hard work beats talent. Woo! And that just happened at a fight that we had. I got a kid named Brian. Mm-hmm. Brian has only been boxing a few years, okay? He fought another kid from Pound for Pound Gym, mm-hmm. okay? And that kid's been fighting for, 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? But Brian beat him at the fight because he outworked him. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? There's always a point where hard work is going to, beat talent no matter what. And so if you don't steadily try to increase, number one, your knowledge about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of people miss that part, right? The mental part of actually, the film study, mm-hmm. whatever it is, because that's one of the biggest parts. You got to be able to mentally understand the game or boxing or whatever it is that you're doing, your mm-hmm. sport. The one thing that you can control the most is how hard you work, how much conditioning you have, mm-hmm. right? And your attitude. Those are the three things that coaches don't want to coach. Mm-hmm. They don't want to coach that. They don't want to coach you to work hard. They don't want to coach you. You know, the biggest difference between a great athlete and a good athlete is that great athletes never get tired. Mm-hmm. Never. No matter what. Mm-hmm. They don't get tired.
Yes, sir.
And when the good athlete gets tired, the great athlete kicks his ass. It don't matter what sport it is. You know, it's hard work, baby.
And I, you know, I want to give my testimony on the backside of what Glenn talking about. For me, growing up, when I was in
My money out of my
coming up, this couch eats shit, Glenn. Please make sure you got everything, player. Coming up, I was a phenomenal athlete, child. And I'm not saying this because I'm on my own podcast, because I could lie. I could tell y'all some BS, you know what I mean? But for me, bro, I went to state for track all 4 years of high school. I was a 3-year starter on varsity for football and a 2-year starter basketball. I was a damn good athlete, Glenn. My whole thing with me, I did not have a work ethic. And I'm explaining when it hit me. Basically, and it's going to piggyback off everything he just alluded to. You go to college. A lot of y'all young people, y'all the shit in high school. You the man at your school, right? You going to go to college, and I wouldn't give a damn if it's an NAIA, JUCO, D1 AA, whatever. You are going to run into other individuals who was also the man or the woman at their high school. Right. They was the shit. They can show you all they press clippings, and y'all don't get those no more. You know what I mean? We can show you everything, all the awards, accolades, stats. I can show you everything. But then you bump into somebody who did that at their school in Louisiana, right? Now, the difference is the work ethic. Because we all the shit. We all good. The thing that hit me like a Mack truck out when I got to college was, wait a minute, these motherfuckers is running early before practice? Mm-hmm. Oh, they staying later after practice. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then they getting work in when coaching them said, oh, y'all got the day off. They still went out and got some work in. Mm-hmm. That is what Glenn is talking about. And it happened to me, y'all, and I couldn't catch it. It took me a while to go, damn, why the fuck I ain't getting no burning on the field? And it's like, wait a minute. I ain't working hard at all. I'm too busy. When I was in college, I was too busy hustling. I was too busy getting in trouble, chasing the women, looking for fun. To what Brother Knowledge is talking about. I didn't tap into the sacrifices that was needed. And it haunts me, y'all, to this day, that I wasn't able to do anything athletic with my athletics. Because like I said, I was a damn good athlete. You know what I mean? And it bothers me from time to time. You know, I'm older, so I've accepted my reality. But, you know, when you look at old photos and old videos of yourself, and you're like, God damn, I was a bad motherfucker out there. I didn't have a work ethic, bro. You know what I mean? And that's real, bro.
You know what kids, especially in team sports, what kids need to understand is that the first thing that should be on your mind, it is that it is your job to make sure that coach plays you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Don't give him a choice. And the only way you can do that is by outworking everybody. You ain't got to be the most talented.
Nope.
But you got to have heart.
Come on,
you got to have desire. You got to have grit. If you got that, the coach will be more than willing to teach you all the fundamentals and put it all together. But it is your job. The onus of being a starter on that team is not on the coach. It's on you.
It's on you.
It's on you. Mm-hmm. You got to make that happen.
Yeah. See, Eastside, you feel me on that, bro? You know what I mean? Because, you know, in high school, bro, you went through your own trauma. You know what I mean? It was your job to get your ass on the floor. Hey, watch them, goddamn me. Yeah. What you watching, football? Do you really? Bro, tell me when you do that type of shit, bro. Hold on. How the hell y'all pull up my highlights that quick? You see me push his ass off and get going on him? That was 80, player. You watched the first play? That was 80, player. I didn't know y'all was doing that back there. All right. You know, thank you, Eastside, bro, for letting my followers and subscribers know I was really like that. You know what I mean? I had world-class speed. Yeah, that way. Now, let me ask you this.
We pulling up YouTube videos?
Yeah. You know what I mean? He started doing some new stuff.
First round knockout on him?
So, now, Glenn, let's get into that real quick. Let's get into your fighting background. Because you said you didn't have that long of a career like others. Right?
Yeah.
What was boxing for you? Like, what was your fighting career? What did it mean to you? Why'd you get into it? Just break that down.
So, I was always a big boxing fan.
Yes,
Loved
sir.
it, you know.
Who your favorite, by the way?
Now?
Subjectively.
Or, it's hard, bro.
Okay.
Hard.
That's
you know
real.
what I mean? Because I've seen so many great fighters and so many, you know, I mean,
I'll do it this way. I asked it a better way. Because you have seen a lot of great fighters in your time. Give me
and even
Glenn.
fighters that weren't in my time. When I go back, Salvador Sanchez.
Yes, sir.
Bro,
So now, if I asked you your Mount Rushmore, if you could give me 4, and it could span however long, it could be Jack Johnson all the way back till now.
Okay.
Give me your top 4 boxers of all time.
Salvador Sanchez has to be one.
Okay.
Roy Jones has to be one for me.
I'm a 90s baby. That's what I saw.
And me and my wife, my family, we just saw him at the airport when we come back from Florida. And I've actually met him a few times.
Yes, sir.
And so I was actually at his birthday party after he fought at Radio City Music Hall. I don't remember what year that was.
Take it back, baby.
It's back there, boy. So Roy Jones got to be there for me.
Yeah, huh? So that's 2.
I got to go with Sugar Ray Leonard over Floyd Mayweather, bro.
Just hit me right in the heart.
I have to. I'm sorry.
Sugar Ray Leonard over Floyd. Okay, all right.
For me,
and you only got one more. This is the toughest spot, y'all. Spin that last one.
It's got to be Muhammad Ali.
Okay, I hear that.
Yeah.
So hold on. So we got Roy, in no particular order. We got Roy Jones. We got Muhammad Ali. We got Sugar Ray Leonard.
Sanchez.
And Sanchez.
Yep.
That's your 4. For you.
4.
I hear that. Did I have ever done my 4 on here? Let me do my 4. Let me put on for the 90s babies real quick. Okay, here we go. My top 4 fighters all time. It got to be Floyd for me. Because, and I always say this, Floyd is what I grew up on. Mm-hmm. I fell in love with boxing watching Money Mayweather do his thing. You know what I mean? So he always be held in the highest regard to me.
That's the LeBron excuse, but okay, that's cool.
I mean, it's not an excuse. It's the truth.
I'm
and now look, now Glenn, don't you start with the LeBron shit over here, because we can, hey man,
bro,
we could do. Let me finish this, because we can get into it. If that's what you want to do, Glenn, because I'm in here with Brother Knowledge and Eastside feel different. Okay, so for me, my Mount Rushmore would be Floyd, Roy, just because Roy was everything when I was growing up. Roy was rapping, so he had videos on MTV.
Bro, Roy was playing full court basketball games.
Come on, man.
Before the fight,
Roy was an entertainer. He was a boxer, but an entertainer at the same time. He rapped. He was on all my favorite sitcoms and TV shows. He'd make appearances. It was everything, bro. So them 2, I'm going to go Muhammad Ali, because I just love Muhammad Ali. I love his story. And my father is a huge Muhammad Ali fan. I didn't have a choice if I was going to be a Muhammad Ali fan. Mm-hmm. My pops instilled it in me. He always talk about this picture he got with Muhammad Ali when Muhammad Ali came to St. Louis to the Boys and Girls Club, and his team took a picture. My daddy never let me forget that. I know, Pops. I get it down. You know what I mean? And let me see. 4, I got to go Mike Tyson.
Okay.
Because just watching Mike Tyson was like the greatest thing. It was like watching a video game, watching his highlights. To this day, sometimes I'm bored, just like, I'm pull up me some highlights, some motherfucking Mike Tyson highlights. Now, let's get into a conversation that was not in my notes, but Glenn started this, and this is perfect because, we got 2 gentlemen, you know what I mean? There's an age gap here. You know what I'm saying? He's probably going to say Michael Jordan. Let's do this. We've never had this type of debate on I-70 podcast, so this is good. Now, Glenn, let me ask you, brother, who is your GOAT? Is it Michael Jordan?
I have Mike and I have Coby at the top.
Okay, them 2.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, do you have Coby right behind Mike because he emulated, God rest his soul, because he emulated everything Mike did as far as play style? He's the closest thing to Mike.
See, everybody says that he emulated.
Oh, he emulated
Mike. And
he did, Mark.
I guess, I could accept that to an extent, but to me, there are some things that he did better.
For sure. He's more. Okay, I'm going to let you do that. Yep.
There are some things that he did better.
Yep.
Now, I think the biggest thing that Mike had over him was the athleticism. Because if you look back, Mike's got the highest in the NBA. I think the highest.
He did at one point.
Vertical.
Yeah, it was a 44 or some shit
record.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then
which is crazy, by the way. 44 inches vertical is crazy.
And then the motherfucker had hands like, he'd be dribbling, catch the ball in the dribble and palm it.
Yeah.
And just like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just it was different,
Yeah.
So, I guess I would have to say I have him because he took Mike's style and he kind of
elevated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See now,
with fundamentals.
There you go.
Yeah.
See now, here's why that's why a lot of individuals in my age bracket we say Bron, because I'm gonna get older people some knowledge here. We have this thing nowadays called YouTube, right? We can go see the games that y'all used to tell us about before YouTube. Being a 90s, they used to tell me all these stories, Mike this, Mike that. I pull up the damn game like, this the shit y'all was talking about? No disrespect to Mike. I'm just saying, it was certain things I see, I'd be like, No, hold. Let me get mine off real quick, brother. Let me do me. It was certain things I would see, Glenn, watching these games, like even Mike's athleticism. Mike's athleticism, you see that every day in the NBA now. That's a fact.
Don't you do that.
Let's keep it real.
Don't you do that.
You have, okay, Michael, what is Mike's his most impressive feat? Jumping from the free throw line, dunking from the free throw line. Zach LaVine, windmill 360 from the free throw line.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. The athleticism Mike dominated the league with is an everyday thing, and you should know this because every generation gets better athletically.
Okay, but he didn't just dominate with athleticism.
No. I'm saying, but his athleticism, when you hear Isaiah Thomas's of the world, they all talk about, man, this motherfucker used to jump out the gym. We used to look at the bottom of his feet. His athleticism, and that's the most impressive thing I saw with Mike. His hang time was just impeccable. It's like he stayed up there. You know what I mean? Like he would.
Let me ask you one question.
Okay, go ahead.
Why are you on the athleticism?
Yes, sir.
Topic. Anthony Edwards, probably just as athletic. Right?
Yes. Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to him in the last playoffs?
So, to your point.
Short answer.
No, short answer. What happened? I'm going to give my answer. The thing I would say what happened was he was fresh. You know, this is his first chance, first crack at the playoffs. His first deep run. Because I don't think he ever made it out of the first round.
He didn't make it out of the first round?
I don't think so. I don't think the Timberwolves ever made it out of the first round.
Yeah, because they beat
Did they really?
Phoenix. They beat Phoenix last year.
Last year? Okay,
Remember,
so I stand corrected.
Shit to Durant.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Good point.
Yeah.
So I just think he's still young because we got to give the same grace y'all gave Mike, y'all got to give to the athletes of today or the athletes that came behind Mike.
Yeah.
Mike got his ass kicked for the first 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
Never beat the Celtics. He never beat none of the big dogs in his era. But no, because they had already called him the GOAT, so it was his time. They called him the GOAT before he won, George. See, anytime I get to talk about Mike, y'all flip it to, we just talking about Mike for this particular. I ain't saying nothing about LeBron just yet. I give my reason why LeBron the GOAT.
So is
Caitlin, see this, I'm finna hold it down for LeBron.
Is Caitlin Clark the MJ of the WNBA?
Say it again?
I said, is Caitlin Clark the MJ of the WNBA?
All right, come on, bro. No, because I don't think she's the greatest WNBA player of all time. So no, absolutely not. And I'm just keeping it real. And I'm glad you went there. A little side note. I think the greatest WNBA player of all time that I saw. Now, you know I'm not going to do that, man, because I don't want that. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, keep me on point. With LeBron and Mike, here's my thing. If I was drafting, if I had a list of all the all-time best players, if I had the number one pick, I'm picking Bron. That's why I got him as the GOAT. Why? Because if I pick Bron, I have a point guard. I have a big man who can go play power forward and, in his prime, defend centers like Tim Duncan and things of that nature. Oh, yes, sir. Go look it up. Yes, sir. It's on YouTube. Go check it out, baby. Go check it out.
Did you say defend Tim Duncan?
That's what I said. But when I say defend Tim Duncan, they going to nitpick. I don't mean shut him down. No.
Tim Duncan was cooking his ass.
Not LeBron, though. You see, you going broader. I'm just saying, if I pick Bron, it's all these things that I get from this one player. I pick Mike.
But see, that's
I need
what
you to
the
score.
LeBron fans do, though.
No, but that's the
y'all
truth.
add shit to his resume that's not true.
But wait a minute. What's not true? What I just said, what's not true?
They literally got rid of the power forward position.
Don't say it's because of LeBron.
Because LeBron can't play it.
Now we said, wait, come again?
Yes, you heard me.
No, I'm going to tell you why they got rid of the power forward position.
He doesn't have the fundamentals that Tim Duncan had. He just doesn't. He's not.
So wait a minute. Hold on now.
That kind of player.
Let's break this down.
His game is predicated on bully ball.
So I'm glad you said that because Glenn, you are an imposing figure, brother. I'm glad your ass. See, I walked her right into that. George ass too. Goddamn it, George brolic than a motherfucker. Here we go. Is he wrong for using his God-gifted abilities?
No, he's not wrong.
So I don't like when people say that.
That doesn't mean that he's, when it comes to that he's better than another player just because he's bully balling.
No, but I gave my reason. My reason was if I draft LeBron, I get a point guard, I get a small forward, and I get a big man, regardless of what people say. I'm not saying big man as if you put him on the all-time ranking. LeBron can rebound with the best of them is what I'm getting at. So he can rebound, defend, pass, score the ball like the best of them. He averages more points than...
Don't forget flop.
Now, granted. Now I'm finna spin it now. See, now look, pay attention, y'all. When we do the LeBron thing, you see when I stay on point, they throw all these different things that I ain't even talked about.
They have to be a part of it, bro.
No, but listen, it's always... a deflect, in my opinion. Nobody ever responds to what I say. They throw in something else.
I give you that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
All
So that's basically what I'm getting at, though, with LeBron, for me. Because it's all subjective. Okay. And I think it's generational. Because I think the generation before Mike, the Dr. J's, I don't think they would pick Mike as their GOAT. They would say somebody like a Elgin Baylor.
They all have.
They haven't.
Well,
no, they haven't.
Okay, most of them. And,
Not the ones before Mike.
Can I answer that question that you just answered?
Yes,
when you
sir.
said you're picking LeBron because
I get
he covers so many positions.
Yes, sir.
Right? So that's why he's your GOAT.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I pick MJ or Kobe because I want to win.
Okay, boom. So wait a minute, hold. Wait a minute.
I want to win.
You want to win?
Yes.
I'm glad you went there.
Yes, I want to win.
Let me break this down to the world, okay, when we talk about winning and losing. Can
I just elaborate on one more thing?
Okay, yeah, please.
Because
you got the floor.
Nobody ever came up with this participation trophy shit until LeBron. Mm-hmm. Nobody ever said, how many finals Magic been to? Anybody know?
Something like that.
Don't nobody know. Exactly. How many finals LeBron been to?
But you want to know why, though? You want to know why?
No, I'm just asking.
And I'm answering it.
Nobody said, he's been
because his critics have made it just this thing that everybody talk. I'm glad you went there, Glenn. I love you, bro.
Nobody even talked about that before LeBron.
But so who brought it up? His critics is what I'm saying to you. You didn't bring it up as an announcer.
No, not his critics. His fans.
No,
brought
we don't
it up.
need to.
Hey, that's the first thing they say. He went to 10 straight finals.
No, but what I'm saying. Go ahead. I'm holding it down. Yeah. See, when I'm on LeBron, I got to fight on 3 different fronts here. It's like World War II all over again.
I'm about to be Switzerland real quick because these LeBron talks, every time we get into them, they end up being like 30, 40 minutes. So I don't want you to ruin the interview.
You're right.
I want you to get back to
agree
it.
to disagree.
There we go. There we go. He got Mike. I got LeBron. You know, Eastside, bro, you are a man about your business. I love that, bro.
I like it.
Because I'm sitting here thinking about it, and after Magic Johnson, he did what he did in his finals, play 1 through 5. LeBron has been in NBA history, he's the worst mismatch to go against. He can run a point. He's fast in your 4s.
Thank you.
He's jumping over 5s.
Yes.
He's bully balling 3s and 2s. So it's like mismatch wise, it's like Magic Johnson with athleticism. Magic wasn't athletic.
Hell no.
Magic Johnson with athleticism. That's why I'm like, but then you go back and you say, what about Kobe? What about this? What about that?
Yeah.
We live in a time of statistics to where anybody can look good. Anybody. And then touch on the ability part. How many dudes run faster than Jerry Rice? How many people are taller than Jerry Rice?
Plenty.
They ain't running routes like Jerry Rice. They
That's
don't
real.
run like Jerry Rice.
That's a good point.
It's some stuff you can't put on stat sheets.
That's real.
Right.
And I think that's where the older generation saw the flu game.
Yeah.
They saw these games, the stomach flu game. Kobe had one too. Saw the 81. They saw these games like, bro, Brian got to do this stuff.
But hold on, man. What about LeBron?
I'm just saying. That's what encased us in our legacy. Like we saw this.
Yeah. And when you talk to some of those guys, even from Kobe's era that played against Kobe and LeBron, most of them say that Kobe was the harder guard.
And look,
Kobe was harder to guard than LeBron.
So when somebody says Kobe was harder to guard than LeBron, right? But then I look up and wait a minute, but LeBron averaged more points than y'all and was busting y'all ass too. So it's like I heard what you say to me. But it's like one thing about it though.
Those numbers can be skewed.
But you know that stats are a part of it, y'all. I know. Listen, nobody wants to talk about LeBron's stats because he has them all. So when you get into stats, it's over with.
Years.
That's a testament to his greatness, Glenn. You know that. You know.
Not.
So longevity's not.
How many 82 game seasons he's played?
So wait a minute, hold on. Because I want to flip it now. You say longevity. You said longevity is not a part of.
It is
greatness. But it is, Glenn. You know that. Bernard Hopkins gets praised because of how long he did what he did. Right or wrong. Floyd fought for 20 years. Tom Brady played for 20 years, get praised for it. Pat gonna play for 20 years. If God will, you know what I mean?
Yeah, those are different sports. But okay.
See, look, now, Glenn, Brother Knowledge, stop. Because now we done got back on LeBron. and we're gonna stay there and look.
I got to give him his props.
I thank you, brother. Now,
worst mismatch ever.
This is what I want. Hold, Esai. Did you just get an umbrella, brother?
Is that a pizza?
Hey, be a man, bro. What you doing with an umbrella?
He was out there singing in the rain, bro.
He did that scene from West Side Story out there
right now.
It is. Now, let me ask you this, Glenn. Can you remember a success story in Full Throttle that moved you? You know what I mean? Or that let you know, man, what I'm doing is phenomenal.
Oh, well, we got a few.
Mm-hmm. Give me some.
I'll give you an example. And you guys probably know this kid's parent, but she came to my gym. He brought her. She went to what's that academy? Sumner. Mm-hmm. Right? Athletic. She wrestled. You know what I mean? But she came in and she did a workout with me, and I mean, she was gassed.
Yeah.
To the point where she's about to throw up. And so I asked her, I said, what do y'all do in practice? She's like, well, since I've been there the longest, the coach lets me run the practice. Mm-hmm. I said, oh, shit. Right. So this girl, and she wanted to go to EMT and fire department. So I said, okay, well, I did like 4 or 5 training sessions with her. Mm-hmm. This is what conditioning is supposed to look like.
Gotcha.
Okay. She took that back to the team, and now her and another girl in the state qualifier.
Ooh. Hey, Mark, give me a hand clap real quick, brother, please. You know what I'm saying?
Now her and another girl in the state qualifier.
Right.
So, just that little bit of, you know what I mean? Knowledge. Mm-hmm. And the problem with a lot of that is that, you have a teacher that's probably teaching or coaching wrestling that was an athlete in college.
Right.
That probably doesn't know a whole lot about wrestling, but he wants the stipend to get the money.
Right.
Right? Got to get that extra money
because
teachers don't get paid enough. They don't get paid half enough. Mm-hmm. Especially with some of the shit they got to deal with.
Yeah.
But anyway. So, yeah. I have another kid, him and his brother. They actually started out with us through Mr. C's program.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Gotcha.
Him and his brother both came. They were still in high school. Man, graduated from high school. Mm-hmm. Now they're both in college. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. One's got a job at a bank.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, just those little things, man, where you see these kids evolve from one phase to the next. When, and my biggest thing is like, and there's certain organizations around here that are really good organizations when it comes to working with kids, but some of them won't work with kids that are in the system.
Got you.
They work with at-risk kids.
Yes, sir.
What about the kids that already took a risk?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Right? You know what I mean? How do we get them back on the right path? And so that is really what our program is based around is, I mean, not that we don't help at-risk kids because we do, but we also are, right now, we're in a process where we're actually getting kids directly from KDOC.
Yes, sir.
That are on probation, that have done something wrong, whether it's a fight, whether it's, whatever it is. And we talk about different type of, social, emotional learning situations with these kids, conflict resolution.
Yes, sir.
I have a guy that comes in. We talk to kids about drug prevention. We can provide a tutoring component for some of these kids. And really the mentorship thing is the biggest part for us because what we want to do is, so we'll bring in some guys that are successful. I have a friend of mine owns this towing company, right? Shout out to my man E. He knows what I'm talking about.
Hey, you better not have been the one who told my shit a couple months ago.
I had him come in. He's got several towing locations around the city now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somebody that looks like them, talks like them, comes from the environment they come from, so they can actually see, okay, well, yeah, I can make it.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? I can get up out of here. I tell the kids all the time, man, and I just made a post about this. You don't have to be a product of what's going on around you. But unfortunately, you are going to be a product of the choices that you make.
Yes, sir.
And what's going on around you. You know what I mean?
And man, and I love everything you said, Glenn, man, because for me, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, and I've talked to Esai and Mike, the owner of the shop, venue that we in right now, Shop Cigar Lounge. I've talked to them where I've said, man, I want to start working with kids, bro. Like, because, and I never knew why I enjoy it so much, but I'm gonna say this. Even just like at work.
Is that buffalo?
Is that what that is? No, that's jalapeno. He got jalapeno on the pizza.
Shit.
Yeah, he got jalapeno on it.
All right, my bad.
So for me, I'm going to say this.
Right, leave it to the Mexican dude to fuck up the pizza and put jalapenos on it. Go ahead.
Hey, they got some good ass pizza next though, Glenn. Now look, for me, always, and I think I tapped into it when I talked to my younger homeboys that's like 18, 21, like if it be at work or anything like that, somebody nephew, somebody little brother. And for me, when I give them advice, it's like I'm giving back to my younger self. And stop me if I'm wrong, but like that's just how I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm correcting wrongs that I didn't do for myself.
Yeah.
I talk to them young dudes like at work, and they'll be, these young motherfuckers is crazy, Glenn. They talk about, I'm finna crash out, and I'm just like, hey, bro, think about it this way. And those moments I had with them, are long lasting. Like I sit in the car and I think about them conversations because it's like, bro, I'm literally giving them young dudes something that I didn't get.
Right.
I'm teaching them, hey man, I went through that. I used to crash out all the time. Don't do it, bro. Do you get that same feeling giving back to kids?
I do, and that's why why my wife and I do what we do. You know, she went to Wyandotte High School, right? So
yeah, y'all was scared of Wyandotte High School back in the day. That's what I heard. I heard you motherfuckers never visited Wyandotte High School. That's what I heard. Goddamn it.
Our moms went there.
Your mom went there. Damn, I take back what I said. Fuck. Shit.
So
my mom went there.
We said it all the time. You know, we the reason we do what we do is because and honestly, we have done this with a very huge lack of funding.
Yes, sir.
For the most part.
Talk about it now.
2 years. And I'll get to that, but you know, is to help these kids not make the same mistakes that we did.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Our generation today, unfortunately, and this has been going on for years, and especially with blacks and minorities and in general, minorities in general.
Yep.
Is that, but blacks for the most part, our culture for sure, because I don't see this as much in other cultures, maybe Hispanic, but they are planning for Saturday, right? And the other folks, they ain't planning a week ahead. They planning a decade ahead.
That's right.
See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So they are not making Louis and Gucci rich. You know what I mean?
Talk about it,
putting
Glenn.
up money for the family later.
Yes, sir.
You know, so it's a mentality of understanding that life is not checkers. You know what I mean? It's chess all day long, 2 and 3 moves ahead. And if you're not thinking down the road, and I play chess all the time.
Hey, you know, we can play because you know I'm undefeated in Shop Cigar Lounge, right?
You better get ready for that L, bro. 'Cause
I listen. Ask Eastside. I get busy, bro. That's what I do. I haven't taken a loss.
We gonna play.
Look, it's right behind you.
Okay.
That's my shop right there. I kick ass. Go ahead.
We gonna see.
All right.
And bro, my daughter texted me last week, and she shout out to my daughter, Liana. You know, she just she graduated Mizzou.
Hey,
Animal
now.
science
Yeah.
degree, and so you know, he moved home in a couple months, but. She said, do you know how to play chess? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm rated over 900 on chess.com. What's up?
And I got it in my phone,
up?
chess.com. You know
What's
what I mean?
your rating?
I play as a guest.
Yeah. See, he don't want
I play as a guest. Look, every time it say, look, you know when you open it up, it say create an account. I just said play as a guest. I ain't with all that. I didn't know you get a rating this up.
She's like, I really want to learn how to play. Bro, my heart, I bet.
Yeah.
We're going to, you know, because I use that critical thinking, that, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
thinking 2 and 3 moves ahead. So, you know, keeps your mind stimulated and all that good stuff. Yeah, man, I just think for the most part, these kids got to understand, man, that it's not about tomorrow. It's about way down the line.
Way down the line. And that's what I mean. Like one of my young homeboys, I'm talking about he 18, Glenn. My dog got the neck tat, and I was just chopping it up with him. And I'm just like, bro, me and him just conversing, and I'm just glad I could be a positive role model.
Right.
And that's why I love, shout out to all the coaches of the world, all the trainers that are doing it for the right reasons. Because as you know, I'm sure there's individuals who just doing it for the pay. They just doing it for the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I always say growing up, my coaches are they are the ones who allowed me to, or let me say it this way, my coaches growing up could get to me quicker than my pops could. Because, you know, growing up with your pops, you hiding stuff from them, you ain't telling them the truth. Your coaches, you could be upfront with them. Right. And, man, my coaches used to just let me, you know, they used to tell me all the time, man, listen, this ain't that. You ain't got, was that wifey?
Yeah.
Till I said hello from the I-70 podcast.
We live right now.
We live, wifey. You know what I mean? Hello.
Can you hear me? Uh-oh.
Oh, bad connection.
We got bad connection. Babe, we live in the interview. Oh,
Glenn in trouble, y'all. Look, I done tapped into it. Glenn in trouble, y'all. Wifey, she
we
on
got no signal in
We
here.
got Wi-Fi. Give my daughter Wi-Fi. What the hell?
Wi-Fi.
You know what I mean? He said, I know you got
Wi-Fi,
it.
bro. My wife.
Why would you say that on camera? Now some crackhead gonna get to set up shop outside, and get to use the Wi-Fi, bro. Now you got. He heard it. We heard it, didn't we, Mark? Okay, all right, bet. You know what I mean? Don't have Mike mad at me. Like, why the fuck my Wi-Fi moving slow?
The cigar shop?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Password strawberry.
Lowercase?
Yep. Damn. Yeah, I know I got ADHD, bro. You know shit just pop into my brain. He disrespectful. I told him he trying to get some crackhead to set up shop. What happened? Oh, wow.
Hey, why you so aggressive?
He's in law enforcement. You know, they're naturally aggressive. You know what I'm Damn. Let me not say that one dog in here.
Yeah, bro.
He said something that kind of got me thinking. A lot of these kids now getting NIL money out the gate.
Oh,
The
yeah.
moment you commit, wasn't Nico the one who went to Tennessee then left for more money to go to UCLA for less money?
Yeah.
Right.
He was getting paid in high school.
Yeah.
He committed, they started paying him NIL money. It was $400,000.
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we're making right now.
Well, and that's life changing. A lot of people don't realize how far that can go. Put in the right avenues. Hey, take this, buy your little property, whatever. Live off campus. Rent off the rest of it. There's smart ways to handle your money about this.
Well, now let's get into it though, brother. Now, let me say it. Let me just put it out there so then Glenn and you can have a chance to discuss it. NIL money that our college athletes are getting now.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it? Is it a mistake or do it need to be tailored a little bit?
No, I think that there needs to be. I think it needs to go like in NFL, like they're getting paid for their name, image, and likeness, for their performance, possible performance, and past performance. And I'll say that if that person doesn't go about it right and they don't have the right people in their circle to help them thrive and they fall on their face, that's like an everyday person anyway.
Yeah.
So if they have the tools for it, which is the money, they don't have the mind to use it properly and they end up broke again, that's the world, bro. Everybody can't win. And there's better ways to go about it. So they need more mentors. They need smarter coaches. But if they just don't get it, there's nothing you could do with that. Antoine Walker made over 80 million, lost it all in real estate investment. He tried to do the smart thing.
Yeah.
Lost it all in real estate investments. Some of these kids, they're going to blow it off the first day they get it.
Yeah.
That's on them. I wish their parents were there. I wish the person was there. I wish somebody said, hey, a girlfriend, somebody, hey, put some of this away.
Yeah.
High yield savings account. Put half of this away and invest the other half in property. Now you set. And when the next check comes around, you got more money because they're still getting cars from dealerships for doing commercials.
Yeah.
They still getting jewelry from the jewelry store for going in and doing their thing. I mean, there's still other stuff coming in.
Yeah.
NIL is just part of the money. That's part of the bag. They got a bigger bag to get into anyway.
Yeah.
I like what the Gronkowski did it. Marshawn Lynch did it. Hey, my contract, my signing bonus, I'm living off that. What I get paid is going in the bank.
Yeah, what's his name? Anthony Edwards said he ain't spent a dime on none of his checks.
Yeah, that's what he said.
He's living off all endorsements.
Now,
all
let me flip the question to you, though, Glenn. NIL, what are your thoughts? Because, I mean, you're training high school and collegiate athletes who are going through it currently.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on NIL money?
When I say I think that's one of the biggest mistakes they make, don't get me wrong. I feel like these kids should benefit from their marquee names, especially while in college, because colleges is making millions of dollars off their names, right? But we're giving them all this money, and there's no, well, I could be wrong, but it seems like now all of a sudden is a focus. You got kids that are in a program, and they can just up and quit. Up and quit and go over here because this school is paying more money, right? And I guess the rebuttal to that was coaches do the same thing.
Yeah.
They do.
They do.
But most of the coaches done put in their time
Yes, sir.
to be able to get to that point.
Was a GA at one point.
Right. They had to go through some trials and tribulations. We letting the kids do it right off the bat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They ain't got to earn nothing.
Nothing.
Right? It's like, I was like, damn. So we just handing them millions of dollars right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I mean, there's got to be a line somewhere in the middle. You know what I'm saying? That actually we can teach these kids to be a little bit more responsible about situations, to have a little bit more accountability.
Yeah.
You know, because they ain't got none of that right now.
None of that.
You know?
And me personally, y'all, I hate the transfer portal.
Right.
I hate the transfer portal, bro. Like, because to me, what you want to know what? Let me put it this way. I believe, like these two gentlemen just said, I believe there needs to be a balance with the transfer portal.
Right.
You shouldn't be able to just up and leave just for more money or because you unhappy because it's not teaching you that's not real life.
Right.
You don't get to just up and leave your job because, motherfucker, you got bills coming.
Right.
You don't get to just up and quit. You know what I mean? You
a lot
better
of
have
these
some money
kids will
coming
do
in.
that.
Exactly.
A lot, this generation,
Yes.
they will quit their shit and not have another job. They not have a plan.
But now, see, one and done is different than the transfer portal because one and done means I'm good enough and I'm good enough to go to the pros. I mean, true. But if somebody draft me, they draft me on potential, whatever, that's different than I get beat out. Let's say me and Glenn competing for a spot.
Right.
I don't compete hard enough. I'm not doing the extra work like I wasn't doing in college. Glenn beats me out for the spot. Then I could just say, you know, the hell with this. I'm going to go to this school. That's not teaching your athletes and these kids adversity and how to deal with life.
Right.
You don't always get what you deserve when you work hard. Sometimes you got to keep just working. It's just like, man, fuck it, I'm going to just keep grinding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's kind of circle back to what we were talking about earlier, when the biggest difference between people that I feel like they grew up in my generation and the kids that are growing up now is they don't have to deal with none of that.
Yep. Facts.
You know what I mean? They don't have to deal with being told no.
Mm-hmm. Which is life, y'all.
Yeah.
That's life.
They don't have to deal with learning how to deal with failing. Excuse me. It's okay to fail.
Mm-hmm.
What's not okay is to fail and then make a decision that you're going to quit and do something else.
How you going to learn?
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, no, I heard that. Now, let me ask you this, though. Because I asked you on a reel, that went out. Your favorite or the most important punch in boxing is the jab.
To me, yes.
And could you break that down just now? Because I know you alluded to it on the clip.
Yeah.
Just break that down. Why is the jab the most important punch in boxing?
Because it establishes everything that you're going to start doing when it comes to the fight, right? So if I can establish the jab right off the bat, then it lets me know like what's coming next. The jab, and again, when you're in that ring, it's just like the game of life. It's checkers.
Yeah.
You want to start like thinking 2 and 3 moves ahead. People don't understand the mental thought process that goes into boxing. It ain't just going in there and throwing punches.
Right.
Now, most of them cats tonight at Guns and Hoses, they just go in there and throwing punches. Right. But real boxing is not like that.
Right.
Right. You got to have a game plan. And when that plan fails or something happens, you got to be able to adjust.
Yes, sir.
Right. And so the jab helps you do that. The jab helps you establish right off the bat what you're going to try and set up next. Okay, when I throw the jab, he does this.
I heard that.
Keep throwing, right?
Yeah.
Well, what if a guy does this every time you throw the jab? Well, now I'm going to feint the jab and come around with the hook.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
I heard that.
There's so many different things, but you got to be able to establish the jab first, man. Because and you got to get to a point where now, and there's just throwing the jab. Now I'm going to throw 2 and 3 punches at a time.
Yeah.
Because now he's going to block probably, and I tell my kids this in boxing gym all the time, stop pop shotting.
Mm-hmm.
Stop throwing 1 or 2 punches.
Yeah.
Waiting for it, because I'm 90% of the time, or let's say 70% of the time, that first punch is going to get blocked.
Right.
And then what?
You got to start the whole process over again.
Start the whole process over again.
Yeah.
Right? But if I'm throwing 3 and 4 punches at a time, oh no. Something's coming. Something landing.
I'm going to get one of these ones.
Yeah, something landing. Something landing.
Yeah.
So,
And then another thing I wanted you to break down that I thought was phenomenal when you was talking about everybody is a fighter until they get hit.
Right.
And then you as a coach who's trained fighters, you can see as a coach, you got hit. You ain't what you thought you was.
Right.
Break that down, because every man believes that they can fight and take a punch and all of that.
And it's a different mindset. Like when guys get in the ring and they spar for the first time. A kid comes in, he's been training for, let's say 3 or 4 months, right? He's ready to spar.
Yeah.
Right? Ready to try to apply what he's learned in the ring. But then the first time he gets actually hit, he can't remember anything that you taught him. He can't apply anything that you taught him because he's so worried about getting hit again.
Yeah.
That's an intangible right there that you cannot teach.
I hear that.
Right? You cannot teach somebody how to deal with getting head-on punched.
Yeah.
You can teach them how to shoulder roll and how to halfway block the punch, but eventually they're going to get hit.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
How do you take that?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you get past the point of, prime example, I'm sparring with one of my clients, right? We've been sparring. Shout out to Mike Sinatra, one of my clients. He's a good dude. We've been sparring, okay? And he's like, and Mike is in, when it comes to cardio, Mike's in better shape than me.
Right.
He swims, he runs, he does all this. I ain't been doing none of that.
Right.
So we just start sparring again, So he's like, how come you're not tired?
Yeah.
Man, I know I'm in better shape than you, but how come you're not tired? Because I'm comfortable.
That's right. That's right.
I'm comfortable. I'm not worried about you. I know I'm going to get hit.
Yeah.
You don't want to get hit. I'm telling you to come in. I want to feel it. I want you to hit me.
Yep.
And that's where we go back to that. It takes a little bit of a twisted individual to be like, yeah, come on, punch me in the face.
Man, and I always said in football, that's why I used to love kickoff.
Right.
Because that first pop, it get me comfortable. It's like, man, finally, bro, I can get that weird feeling off of that. Because when you get into it, I don't give a damn what you get into sports. You're going to feel that a little bit of nervousness or adrenaline, whatever. Something running through your veins.
Right.
It always took that first pop to make me go, all right, I'm cool. I'm
That's
settled
why
in the
when
game
you
now.
see these big, especially in heavyweights, you see these big dudes and they look like they out of shape.
Yeah.
What was the dude? Ruiz?
Andy Ruiz.
Yeah, right?
Yep, Andy Ruiz.
It was like, damn, he ain't in shape. No, he in shape.
Yeah.
He in his shape.
Just built a
'Cause
little
he
funny, but
comfortable.
yeah.
he comfortable.
Ready for
He
war.
been doing it since he was 4 or 5 years old.
That's right.
So he's not worried. He's not out of breath. He's not panicking.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, he's not panicking.
What you got, brother? Knowledge?
So Mike Tyson said everybody got a plan to get hit in the mouth.
Till they get punched in the face.
He's hitting them out.
Yep.
And that's a game changer because when you go to box, you're going to war. You're going to fight. People lose their life in that ring. And that sets in once somebody hits you really hard and you still on your feet and they still coming at you like, whoa, this ain't over yet?
Yeah.
If you're not used to that kind of conflict or adverse, your upbringing raised you for that. My upbringing raised me that. Hard upbringing raised you for that. That's why the roughest, tumblest fighters, you come from a bad, bad place.
For sure. Yep.
do.
The Klitschko brothers came out of Russia.
Right.
A bad, bad place. Manny Pacquiao, Streets of Philippines. Bad, Triple G.
You right.
Mayweather, Tyson. I mean, Ali.
If you keep going, you'll name everybody. Everybody come from the hood.
Roberto
Most of them.
Duran.
Right.
Yeah.
Bad, bad place.
Yep.
It's like you're ready for that because the mindset is, man, I could have died a long time ago. I'm in here getting punched. This ain't nothing.
Yeah.
But to somebody that's comfortable, like the guy you're sparring with, he probably had a nice cush lifestyle.
Yeah.
He swims, he runs.
Yeah, he live in Mission
jogs,
Hills, bro.
He bikes.
Shout out to Mission Hills. I ride through there and dream, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I just roll through Mission Hills just like this. That's what I do on my Sundays.
Everything was good until he got a stiff jab and his head went back. Oh, what's
Yeah.
going on? What's this? I don't know
yeah.
how do I do this?
It's a different animal. It's a different animal, you know, and all those guys you were talking about, like you said, you know, they come from bad environments, but what the bad environment instilled in them the most is how to deal with adversity.
Yeah.
Right? How to deal with situations when they hit you hard, how you come back.
I hear that.
You know, how you come back. My man Rocky, what he say in the movie?
I've seen all
It
the
ain't
Rockies.
how hard you get hit. It's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
He told his son that on the sidewalk.
Yes, sir.
Now listen,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I've seen every Rocky. You know what I mean? I'm just, hey Mark, I learned that Eye of a Tiger song because of Rocky. I know that word for word. You know what I mean? Hey Mark, have you seen all the Rockies as well? What's your favorite one, bro?
I really like.
It's tell me a lot about you, brother.
I really like the first one.
Okay, all right, I
Yeah.
knew it. I see you. Tell me everything I need to know about you. You like the first one? Yeah, that guy, huh? You didn't like the third one with Mr. T?
The third was
everybody loves
probably
Coby
the
Lane.
best one.
That was my favorite one.
That's
the
my
third
favorite
one.
That's
That's
my
my
favorite.
favorite.
The third and the fourth.
Yeah.
The fourth one's good. If he dies, he dies.
Yeah. The third and the fourth.
Drago, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I'd love it just because I love the backstory of the whole
Yeah.
situation.
They started to get a little corny. You know, I ain't gonna lie.
Once it made it to Creed, I'm like, I'll go see it. But yeah, all right.
The first Creed was good.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'll go see it. I'm gonna go see
Even
it.
the second Creed, I think I'm like, okay, Drago, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they come out with a third one?
yeah.
They did.
Yeah,
I ain't even seen that one yet.
You ain't seen that one with
No,
the,
I ain't
with
seen
the
that one
dude,
yet.
the dude from his neighborhood?
No, I did see
With,
Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan
Majors.
Majors.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
I take that back.
Yeah, that was good.
So I have seen all the Rockies.
Yeah.
The fifth one was kind of.
Yeah, you know, Tommy Morrison in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it was kind of. Yeah,
I'm not a big Tommy Morrison fan. So.
Really? Now that's your era though. Oh, he from around here.
Yeah.
Word.
I got a little backstory about Tommy.
All right.
Man. You know, he was a different dude. You know,
Really?
really from Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So he has some racial tendencies. You know what I'm saying?
I can see that.
It was me and my man Maurice Brandley. He's from KCK. You know, we used to box together, ride the hood, you know, and they was all out of the same camp, and they was riding down on Quindaro.
Yeah.
Tommy was driving. You know, because Tommy was a prodigy back then of John Brown, which is the guy that used to own Ringside.
Okay, got you.
Sold Ringside.
Learn something new every day on the I-70 podcast, baby.
Yeah. So John Brown is the head guy over at Turner Boxing Academy.
Okay.
Right. So very big into boxing. But they was riding in the car, stopped at a gas station, had to get gas. Tommy looked over and said, "Y'all get out and pump gas. I ain't getting out with all these niggas around." I said, "What the fuck did you just say?" What did you just say? What?
I know that. I know you was
Yeah,
stunned.
I was fuming. I'm like, this motherfucker. Yeah. So yeah, we you know, but he was kind of a bully.
Yeah.
You know, he's kind of a bully. But I don't piss on nobody's grave,
But I mean, listen. At the end of the day,
the truth
that's
is
your
the
truth.
Yeah, the truth.
And
is the
you
truth.
ain't telling the story that you heard. You telling the
I was
story.
there.
You was there.
I was there.
You know what I mean? And that's what life's about, baby. You gotta tell you. You gotta tell your story.
Yeah. So you know,
Now, one thing I do want to spin back to though, why you taking Sugar Ray Leonard over Floyd Mayweather? I wasn't gonna let that go. We can leave the LeBron shit alone.
For me, because I never saw Sugar Ray just kind of sit back and get to that point in his career where he was just trying to get paid.
Okay, all right.
You know what I mean?
I heard you.
He fought. Mm-hmm. I tell kids all the time, in every boxing match, a fight has to start.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so Floyd, the brilliant boxer that he was, he got to that stage where he didn't want to fight no more. He just wanted to box. Mm-hmm. And now all of the kids that saw him, they want to emulate that Philly shell right off the bat.
Yep.
They don't even want to learn the fundamentals. They want to go straight to the Philly shell. And I'm like, bro, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
First of all, you ain't fast enough,
right,
to emulate that style. Your instincts are not there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like somebody throwing a punch at you, you gotta, and then you gotta be able to come back.
Yeah, which Floyd was phenomenal at.
Right.
That pull counter.
And these kids are not.
Right.
They want to sit back. They want to try to learn to duck the punches. I tell kids all the time, you don't get no points for making somebody miss.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It looks good.
Look good.
Yeah, he can't hit you, but you ain't hit him either.
Mm-hmm.
He's the aggressor. So he's winning the fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's why you are telling the God honest truth, because I grew up on Floyd. I'm not gonna say he altered boxing, but you definitely see the Floyd Mayweather blueprint in boxing now, and it has hurt the sport in some regard because we cannot get the fights that we feel like we should be getting. Everybody want to stay undefeated. When all our goats from back in the day, majority of them lost fights. Yeah, almost all of them lost fights.
And does it make them less of a fighter?
No, sir. You know what I mean? But yeah, ever since Floyd went undefeated, got all that bread, now everybody want to be undefeated with bread, and it's ruining boxing. And this is coming from a boxing fan, y'all. I love boxing. Only reason why I didn't do it, I've said it before, my mama wouldn't let me. Growing up, she said, "Nah, baby, you can go play football. You ain't boxing. Yeah, because you're gonna be punch drunk, missing teeth, all that."
And there's a lot of guys that are like that, man. I've been to events, man, and you hear these guys talk, man, and it's like, damn. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Damn, Tommy Hearns. Mm-hmm. I met him in Detroit, years ago. This was
shout out to the legend.
Yeah, shout out
to Hitman. Yes, sir.
Well after his career, but he was talking, man, and I barely understood what he was saying. And I'm like, damn,
hard to watch, man.
Is that what's gonna happen to me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, so luckily it didn't fight very long, so I didn't get to that point. But yeah, man, it's a tough sport, bro.
And that may be the price of greatness. You know what I mean? Because we see a lot of our former, pantheon athletes, for instance, like a Ronnie Coleman.
Right.
Seeing Ronnie Coleman, he did all what he did in Mr. Olympia. Yeah. Most decorated Olympia of all time, and now he can't even walk now. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just the price of greatness. You know what I mean?
It is. That's exactly what it is.
Crazy, man. And that go back to what you was talking about, Brother Knowledge, just that sacrifice, bro. Like a lot of people don't really, when I see our athletes like a Tommy Hearns and, they can't really speak now, it's like, man, he'll forever be remembered for what he did in that ring, but it's a tough.
And a lot of it has to do too with some of them try to do it too long.
Okay, right.
Like I said, I just saw Roy in the airport a month ago, and he just as articulate and as he was when the first time I met him. Yeah. But he was limping. Talking about how his knees all messed up real bad now, and so there's something's got to give. Yeah, something's got to give.
Now, and we spoke on it earlier, but before the show ended, where we at, Mark? How we looking, baby? Good. So I want to ask you something, because for me, I love boxing. I love to box. You know what I mean? Like I said, I just couldn't do it when I was younger, and then when I got old and I met Esai, and they blessed me with access to the gym and let me start coming in there and hitting the bag. The thoughts I have is, man, I'm a damn good athlete, but man, I'm 30. I don't really want to get into it now, or because I ain't trying to be super pro or nothing, but I just want to see, because I enjoy it, I like it, and I'm good at it. You know what I mean? And that's subjective, but I'm all right. I'm straight, y'all. Trust me, believe me. What advice would you give if I was to walk into Full Throttle and be like, hey, look, man, I'm 30, but I just want to see what I got? What advice would you give me?
Well,
now be honest. Now be brutally honest, because this conversation is going to affect me.
That is, okay, we got to get you in tip-top shape.
Right.
That has to be the number one thing.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because if you're not in shape and you're not in peak conditioning and you try to get in that ring, whatever I teach you is going to go out the window as soon as you get in the ring.
Yes, sir.
And the main reason is because you haven't been doing it your whole life.
Right.
It's not automatic for you.
Yes, sir.
Right? It's not automatic for you. So starting at that point, and the funny thing is I didn't have my first professional fight till I was 30.
See, look, he's giving me that. You see, look, Mark, this conversation, I'm telling you, bro.
Years old.
It's crazy, bro.
When I had my first professional fight,
Mm-hmm.
okay, at Union Station.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's on YouTube, Doc.
Yeah. There you go, clear. Yeah.
So for me, it was like when I tell people that, you got to be in tip-top shape.
Yeah.
Because whatever I'm teaching you is going to go out the window as soon as you get tired.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if I can get you in tip-top shape and you can start to process, because you got to be able to think in the ring. And you can't do that if you're exhausted.
Right.
You can't do it if you're exhausted.
So first step for John, get in tip-top shape. Then come holler at Full Throttle.
Yep.
All right, bet that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got me. Y'all got me.
How much you weigh?
Right now I'm walking around like 190, 198.
Okay,
Yeah, 198.
I got a new guy you can start sparring with.
Mm-hmm. See, all my weight in my legs, y'all. I got motherfucking goddamn. I'm like not like Mark. Mark goddamn tree trunks, but my weight.
My man Wolfgang, he's actually at the gym right now. He was at the gym working with my son, Wolfgang Shields. He's got a little podcast thing I think he does, or a little YouTube.
Man, tell him come get down with me. I want all the podcasts to come sit down, because this is what this is about. We all need to sit down here in KC. That's one thing I pride myself on with the podcast. I like to, because I'm going to say this, and we can end the show on this, Mark. I know your ass cheeks starting to get sore, bro. I know. I got you, bro. I got you. For me, with podcasting, and I've always wanted to say this, and I've never said it. With podcasting, I see a lot of people with platforms, Glenn, and I get disappointed because I think a lot of people are using these mics for the wrong reasons. Yeah. No different than with any profession. You have individuals who are going to do it for money, and you have individuals who do it because they love it and they enjoy it and they want to give back. There are people with podcasts here in this city and, around the world. They promote negativity. They bring the little young dudes on with the Pooh Shiesty mask and let them talk about beefs with who they beefing with over there. Yeah. And it bothers me because for me, y'all, and I'm gonna say this on camera, to me, that's intellectually lazy as a podcaster to have a young gentleman sit on his couch and talk about who he shot or didn't shoot 3 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Like it's lazy because you're only doing it because that's gonna get the views. You're gonna have all the kids, chiming in, and you are promoting drama with these kids because these kids can't compartmentalize between what's going on.
No, they can't.
They can't.
They can't compartmentalize between reality and like this Instagram life or this social media life. Yep. And that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem because they're taking that, and I was just talking to my son about this yesterday. They're taking what they feel is what they're seeing, and they're trying to implement it into their lives, and they're not understanding that that's not real life.
Right.
That nobody, and the percentage of people that become successful from doing that is very, very low. Very low.
Very minute, you know what I mean?
And if you ain't willing to claw, scrape, die for that extra edge, you know what I mean, to try to get ahead no matter what you doing, bro, your chances of failing are a hell of a lot higher than everybody else's.
Hell of a lot. You know what I mean? Look, we ain't doing nothing but giving game, man. I got the big dog Glenn in the building. You know what I'm saying? Chop it up. Now, look, Mark, I got you, baby. I know you probably got something you got to get to this Saturday. Now,
you look hungry, bro.
Who?
Oh, he just ate pizza.
No, Mark ate that pizza, bro. Man, ain't nobody offer John nothing, though. Fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? Trash ass boy.
Y'all didn't offer us.
Ain't that a? But you know what I'm saying, Glenn, bro, ain't offer me nothing. Then he gonna say you working. Ain't that a bitch? Oh, see, look, it's all good. Now, before I get you up out of here, Glenn, if you could give one piece of advice to the world, what would it be? And I know, because I know you got a head full of wisdom. Clearly, from me talking to you, I know that. If you could give one piece of advice to the world, what would it be?
Think about what you want to be, what type of legacy you want to live. Right? And to me, that really sets the standard.
Yes, sir.
For how you live your life. Okay? So it may be not at an early age, but if you can start doing that at an earlier age and you have, longevity of doing, X amount of things and how you're doing them, it will push you much farther ahead of people that, you know what I mean, that are doing it. So for me, it's like, how do I want to be remembered? Right. And I don't want to be remembered of how Glenn used to be.
Yes, sir.
Out in the streets, doing this and doing that. I want to be remembered. Number one, I want to be remembered as a good dad.
Yes, sir.
That is the most important thing.
Whew. I done did it too. Oh, I done did it too on this podcast. You know what I mean? Take your time, Glenn. You know what I mean? Because the way Esai works, Esai will make sure to put that on video. You know what I mean?
That is the most important thing about all to me, man. I have a stepdad that's been in my life since I was, 7, 8, 9 years old, and so I know both sides.
Yes, sir.
My stepdad is, man, he taught me how to be a gentleman. He taught me how to be a man. My mom taught me about being, hard work, and both my parents, you know what I mean? But being a good dad to me is what I want to be most remembered for first. And then also, what kind of impact did I have on young people, on society, young people in general? You know what I mean? Because and I do feel like I'm having, especially with my own kids. I posted something on Facebook about this the other day. My son Vico and Xavier. Vico's 16, Xavier's 21, but they see what me and my wife are doing, right?
Yes, sir.
And so we had some kids, that are in foster home care that are in our gym, and Vico and Xavier both jumped at the chance to be able to help these kids.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And that to me is, saying something as far as what kind of impression that we are leaving on our kids, right? And so for me, man, like I said, being a great dad and just knowing that people can look and hear my name or see something of me and say, yeah, that guy helped a lot of kids. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
He had a huge impact on my kid or my friend's kid, or, helped them get to the next level. We sent a guy, and even in sports performance training, Sam Webb, my man, he plays for the Raiders.
That's right.
Yeah, we sent him to the Raiders a few years ago. Trey Valvo.
I had him on this couch already.
Trey?
Yeah, I interviewed Trey. Yeah, you damn right I did.
He worked out with me right before he went to the NFL. And then he's in Winnipeg right now.
Yes, sir.
So he trained in my gym the whole time before he left.
That's how, that's when he told me, I was like, ain't that bro that trained Trey? He's like, yeah.
Yeah. So
full connection.
So the biggest piece of advice that I would give is that just think about how you want to be remembered, man. And because what you do and the choices you make and the decisions that you make are going to have a huge impact on that.
And if I could, man, like, that's, now that I'm, I always say that it's like my light bulb that came on. Before I turned 30, I still wanted to have that street cred and, the shit we did growing up and that
I didn't
image.
start out like this. I didn't get to that point until later on in life.
Yes, sir. So I'm on the right path then.
When I got past 40.
Okay.
That's when I really started to think about, bro, what kind of man you want to be? What kind of man you want to teach your kids to be? What kind of man do you want people to see you as? Yeah.
And I'm telling y'all, if you are in the KC area or you passing through, please come down to the Shop Cigar Lounge. And here's why. For me, I love coming in here seeing men that look like me, looking good. I mean, Jay's galore between Brother Knowledge and Glenn. And that's the Jay man. I ain't seen this motherfucker wear the same pair of J's once yet.
Oh, I got a nice little collection.
But like, all in all, and I'm being funny, but like, this is truthfully, bro, I get to come in and see men who are older than me in professions that I am interested in. Mentally, they are where I want to be. They make sure they clean cut, haircut, looking good. Those are the things that I think that the young men need to see. To your point, young men who are in high school, early 20s, you need to see men that look like you that aren't in the streets, but are successful. Yeah. You know what I mean? Who are living a good life, buying what they want, doing what they want, going on vacation. You know what I mean? You need to see that because it allows you to look outside of the hood. And it makes you look at your OGs in the ghetto like, man, you ain't on shit. The fuck I'm listening to you for?
Yeah.
What you doing?
Yeah.
You still out here. You 40 years old. You still hustling on the block. Toss a little bro. Take this up straight.
I told my son this a couple weeks ago. I said, hey, man, I'm going to tell you right now. You need to start surrounding yourself with people. Think about where you want to be in life later. Those are the people that you need to start hanging out with right now.
Yes, sir. That's so true. I got so many homeboys I don't kick it with no more.
You start hanging out with right now.
Oh, I got plenty of homeboys.
You don't wait to hang out with. You hang out with them right now.
Yes.
So you can start connecting the dots of how to get. You want to be a millionaire? Go hang out with millionaires. You know what I mean? They'll teach you how to be a millionaire. But if you hanging out with fellas in the hood, guess where you going to end up?
The hood. Take it from me. I'm trying, because me personally, I love the ghetto. You know what I mean? I love the hood, but you just make a point. You make a stance. You draw a line in the sand and go, look, that's not what I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
That's not what my legacy is gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something phenomenal and affect the world in some capacity, and I ain't gonna do it on the block somewhere. So, yeah. Now listen. It's been another amazing episode. Make sure if you're in the KC area or passing through, you fighters that pass through, make sure y'all stop. What's the address to Full Throttle?
2824 South 44th Street.
Pull up on my dog. We have it on the screen because if you was in the resource room like me, you probably trying to write it down and replay it 5 times so you write it down. We'll have it on the screen for you.
Big sign out front says Full Throttle Fighters. You can see it from the highway.
And what are your requirements to be in the gym or to be a member of the gym?
I don't necessarily have any requirements.
Okay, gotcha.
I just asked that if you come to the gym and you, especially thinking about boxing, I mean, because we have, my wife's a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
My wife done got 5 certifications in the last 2 years.
She made you step your game,
bro. Certified nutritionist, group exercise, personal training. I mean, she on it. So, if you're coming for personal training, obviously that's different. You know what I mean? But just be ready to work, man. Have a mindset that, and not to where like you trying to be better than somebody else. You're trying to make you better.
Right.
That's right. I mean? Trying to make you better.
Now listen, but like I said before, excuse me, y'all, it's been another amazing episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Make sure you tap in, go follow Full Throttle on IG. You know what I mean? So y'all can tap in so y'all know all the fights that's coming up, all the events. He got somebody fighting tonight in the Firefighters vs. Cops joint.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Guns and hoses.
That's what it's called, Guns and Hoses?
Yes.
I like the sound of that. Guns and Hoses, huh? Yeah. Who came up with that damn name? It's
been around for a long time.
Guns and Hoses?
Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time. And it's all over St. Louis, it's all over the country.
David, you got somebody in there tonight? Yeah, look at David in the back. David, you fought in that thing a few times? My dog, look, David is a man of many hats. You know what I mean? I still been figuring David out this whole time. How long we been here? You said about a year? I ain't gonna never figure David out. Still learning something new. Now, if I don't shut up, y'all, I'm gonna have Glenn sitting here all day. Make sure you like, subscribe, share.
My wife says it's time to go eat, bro.
I got you. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, and we out.